We're
Hello.
back.
We're
We are
back.
here. We said sing the jingle, and we can't remember what the
Yeah.
jingle was. Go ahead, Allison. Do a little ditty. It's your shining moment. Oh, oh, like
This
a
is
little jazz.
yeah, I was feeling a little
Wow,
like scatting action.
wow.
That would be a much more high caliber podcast for us. Like you can tell this is a
What
low budget operation.
what are you talking about? I didn't just try to figure out for 10 minutes why my AirPods sound funny in the background.
I mean,
This is fine.
look, people, you get what you get. You don't
The
get upset.
economy's problematic.
The economy
This is what we got right now.
is what
This
it is.
is what we got right now.
Oh,
We're back. Wait, how long has it been since we recorded a podcast? When do we think the last one was?
I literally don't even know. Probably like February,
It's
maybe.
been many a month. It's been at least 6 months. Well, it's been at least 4 months. I, and you can fill us in maybe on why that number
Yeah.
feels kind of important right
Yeah.
now.
So we
But we're
took a
back. It's been a while. Yeah,
took a minute because
hiatus.
this is Allison speaking. Allison, hello. If you forget the sound of my voice, come into
I'll never forget the sound of your voice.
it's burned into your it's
It
seared into
talks to me in my dreams. It tells me to chill the fuck out in
you
my
know
dreams all the
one of
time.
my favorite things is when a client tells me that they hear my voice telling them something that's like
Oh, I love that.
encouraging. It's my favorite. Oh,
My favorite one that a client ever told me is she could remember me saying about like chicken nuggets, like just eat the fucking nug, like that, and that was the quote in her brain was eat the nug, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's
that's a
delicious,
good one. I don't hate it.
delicious.
We so yeah, we we obviously took a little quick break, not so quick, because I had a baby.
Yay! He's the cutest baby. Oh my God.
I
Other than, I
agree.
mean, my babies, we could put them all on the same level, but he's a very delicious
I would say I
child.
feel like your kiddos are at the age where they are like sweet, delicious teenagers, sort of that you can have conversations with, and like I'm looking forward to
Yes.
that because right now my kid just yells at me when he needs
Yes.
something.
Conversations like, stop giving me so much attitude, and if you don't stop whining right now, I'm going to leave the house.
I
Those
was
are the sweet
literally gonna
conversations I'm
say, was
having.
that you telling them that or them telling you that?
I mean, it really could go either way.
Interchangeable.
Truly. Truly. Yes,
But
but
yeah,
Allison has entered into the world of motherhood, the
momhood,
exciting
which is
place.
it is. It's the best hood I could possibly join, and I'm humbled by God. Like moms are crazy. I mean, parents in general. I'm impressed. It's been a definite definite learning curve that's been steep, but it's the best. I'm finding it to be like the best thing I've ever done, and yeah, couldn't be happier and more tired simultaneously. But
You're
but
doing the
obviously,
best job ever. I can
thanks.
guarantee it.
I'm trying. I'm
Have you
trying.
gotten your handbook in the mail yet? Has yours
Yeah,
arrived? I'm still
yeah.
waiting for
So
mine. Oh, you
mine was
got yours?
oh yeah, mine was missing all of the pages though. It was just like here's the handbook and then there was
Somebody
nothing.
had peed on them and
Yeah,
ripped it and
yeah,
licked
probably
it.
my kid.
Uh, uh, uh. On the way, he grabbed it
Yeah,
first.
on the way he was
Yeah, they
like,
don't
ah.
really tell you. I can still remember leaving the hospital and being like, are they seriously letting us leave with
Yeah.
this child right now? Like, what are they thinking?
I
What
mean,
are they thinking?
I was told by someone that they would check how we put the baby in the car seat.
Yeah,
They didn't.
they don't care.
So I was like
Bye.
to my husband, "What are we doing? Like, is this correct?" And it was one of those moments of like, okay, just like strap him in as tight as we can, and like, let's boogie because I'm hungry and I want to sleep. I want to sleep in my own bed.
I can still remember the meals I had post childbirth. I will tell you quickly. The first one was it was midnight when they brought me up to the floor, and I was so hungry.
Yeah.
And I told my husband to go and get some food, and he came back with like a decrepit tuna sandwich that some nurse
Ugh.
had found, and it was the most delicious thing I remember that I've ever eaten. It looked disgusting, but I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is so good. And the second time was a Jimmy John's turkey sandwich, and it was
Yeah.
also quite delicious.
Excellent. I It's just so bad, but I can't remember. I'm trying to think. What was
It's
it?
too soon. Need more time. Your brain cells haven't like reorganized themselves yet
Yeah,
to where they're gonna
my
be.
brain, if I make no sense today or ever in the future, this is why. I mean,
I don't
like, I
think it
actually,
ever makes sense, really.
you do.
Truly. It's always like a tangent, like there's always something else happening.
I mean, do we have ADHD? Probably. Diagnosis, Carrie, diagnosis. Um, I think, I know I had, so like in the hospital, I know I had, I think it was like chicken parm was one of the options for like the
Mm,
next day. So like I gave birth
wow.
in the morning at like 6 a.m.
Hmm.
For anyone who's also wondering, I went into the hospital on Thursday afternoon at like 5 p.m. I think I finally got checked in, and I had my son, and I was induced, so I had the process start Thursday evening, and my son arrived Saturday morning.
Gotta love a
So
first baby. Just taking its jolly old time.
he was a sweet goober. So anywho, he arrives early Saturday morning, and I think my dinner that night, I want to say, was chicken parm, but I had something. I think my dad brought me a turkey. Did my dad bring me a turkey sandwich? And that was the hope, was that my dad was going to bring me a turkey and cheese sandwich, which,
Yeah.
like, again, I avoided deli meat. That was the only thing well, there's a couple things I don't particularly enjoy, so I avoided, but, like, that was the only thing I was like, oh, I was feeling a little waffly, just because of all the food safety stuff
Yeah.
that has
Yeah, yeah.
popped up in
They
the
freak
last,
you out about everything. Like
yeah,
the fear. The fear is
year,
real.
yeah, the last year, I feel like food safety stuff has been bananas, so,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but yeah, pregnancy was a wild journey. Now we're here in the land of postpartum. Still wild. Um, Happy to be here though. Happy to be back and
Yay.
bitching with my friend.
We have returned. Returned to bitch and whine. Listen, we talked about this when we were
Mhm.
rallying ourselves to get back on to do this, that like it has been, especially the last right 6, 7 months, just a wild ride out there in
Yeah.
recovery land. I don't know what I want to call it. Out in the world of
Recovery land.
personing. It has just really been.
Yeah.
It's been a rough time. It's rough out there,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I think if we're feeling it, and again, this is
Hmm.
what we do for a living, we are, I want to say, as well equipped, but like that feels
Yeah,
like a lie because who is well equipped to person in
yeah.
2025? Um,
But we've done like specific like training and talking and like mulling over what are the possible ways to navigate this. So I think if we're, I agree. Like, are we really ever equipped for anything? Probably not. But in the grand scheme of like not being equipped at all to maybe having some knowledge, like we're pretty far on the other side
yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
and it has still been horrific,
Still in a
basically.
doozy.
Hmm.
So, if you're new to this podcast, because obviously this might be your introduction to us, we are, well, I'm Allison. I'm a registered dietitian. I own a private practice that focuses on all this stuff, diet recovery and gentle nutrition and all foods fit, etc., etc.
I heard you say dental nutrition, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, Allison, this is
This is,
a whole
if
new world for you."
we're in diet recovery, we're going to talk about teeth, and
Dentistry,
I
teeth.
hope you're ready to hear about some phosphorus,
Uh,
calcium, etc. No,
that sounds great. No, gentle. You said gentle nutrition, which is great. We love
gentle.
some gentle nutrition.
Yeah. Um, who the heck are you again?
I'm Keri Baker. That's me. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, also in Florida currently,
Oh,
where I
I
am.
forgot to say that.
Um, you are also currently in Florida, as we both are.
Yeah.
I also have a private practice. I'm in Tampa. Um, yeah, that also talks about all of this stuff, plus other, other things too. Well, of course, we also talk about other things, anxiety and trauma and
Yeah.
all the fun stuff. Sensitive people. This is my new
Yeah.
brain thing, talking
I was
about
gonna,
highly sensitive
that's a whole
people.
nother, we should talk about that one day. But
Yeah.
we are here. We are here to I guess just be right in solidarity with people that are hating the way the majority of the world talks about food and body and all the other nonsense. Um, and yeah, the last 7, 8 months of this has that part of the world has been an absolute dumpster fire. Um,
It's chaos.
yeah.
Chaos. 24/7. I think we've talked about this, and I know I've talked to clients, and I'm sure you're getting back, as you get back into seeing clients and everything, talking about this again, how, like, this is always hard. Like, it always feels like you're swimming upstream, whatever we say. Like, it always feels like a little bit of a fight. And
Yeah.
it seemed like for a while there, maybe things were kind of like, it was like the boat was starting to slightly
Come in.
turn its course. Yeah, like just like a little, like, like I feel like with a boat, right? It's like I was on a cruise ship a couple
Me
months ago
too.
and thinking about, right, like they make like a teeny tiny readjustment and it can bring you to like a different country by accident kind of thing. So like it felt like we were veering kind of sort of in some direction of, whether you want to
Hope.
call it body positivity, which I know is not like our favorite word, but for some people it makes sense, right? Like they know what that means. It felt like people were
Yeah.
embracing different bodies and kind of turning our focus to like how do we support ourselves. And now we've all just like the ship has like sunk into the
Weird. Yeah. No, yeah.
abyss of the ocean. It's
You're
gone.
right.
The ship is gone.
It's like the do you remember like that submarine that went down to visit the Titanic and it exploded?
The Titan, was it called the Titan?
Titanic.
No, the Titan wasn't the
Oh,
sub called the Titan.
no idea. Why would I retain that information? I barely know my own name.
Why would I retain that? I don't. I mean, what fell out of my brain to remember that
To keep that.
information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it imploded. Sorry, that's not why you were saying it.
no,
Continue.
but that is
Yeah.
exactly what I was saying. The world of oh gosh, like safety that had been
Yeah.
just starting to kind of manifest, yeah, has kind of exploded and is, I mean, we are now just bombarded. We're not, I wouldn't say just now, but like we are even more so bombarded with the GLP-1 conversation, where I mean, we're heading into a time of year that I think we all
Hmm.
know is historically hard one, like holidays, right? And comments from
Yeah.
family and seeing people we haven't seen in a long time, and then New Year's and all the language around that. So it just feels like it's compounding and it's getting worse and worse and worse and
Yeah.
worse. So,
I found this interesting, like, and I think maybe I talked about this before we stopped, before we took our before we took our break, about
right.
like having to get off of TikTok because I was getting like sucked down deep into stuff. I also took a break from like Instagram for maybe like a month. Not that I never went on, but I took it off my phone, which was like a huge deal. And then that coincided with this cruise where I did on purpose did not buy the internet package. I like haven't been on a cruise since I was a
Good for
teenager,
you.
many years. It was so fun. Right, so that was great. So I really did like then had no access for like that, 5 days or whatever. And then I got back on it just to be like, what, I'm feeling recentered and like what's going on. And the amount of people who I previously followed on my like my professional Instagram account, like my Carrie Baker Counseling, whatever Instagram account, there was a very large quantity of people who, listen, I noticed, like, I saw their picture, and I know, like, listen, we notice when people look different. And again, there's no, like, judgment around the looking different, but there was a lot of curiosity about, like, the amount of people who happened to be people who were, like, talking about like body acceptance stuff that then all of a sudden looked drastically different. And we're starting to talk about that instead. And they were like this, and again, this is like not a judgment on them. I totally understand. And I know there are probably people who had to go on medications like the GLP-1s because they really needed like medication to treat like a medical condition, and it happened to result in some kind of change in their body for
Yeah.
whatever. But there were it's like I couldn't believe it. It was like person after person,
Yeah.
so overwhelming. And we know when we're already struggling, and then there's that reinforcement of like everybody's changing, and you're not. No, you're not doing it. It felt terrible, like
Like
really terrible.
it felt like when we're a time where you were left out of something, right? And like
Hmm.
you
Yep.
were on the outside of what the majority of the world is doing, and if so facto that made you wrong and that made you continuing
Hmm.
to stay in the body that you're in wrong. um and that's the crummy piece, I think, like the feeling of, I don't want to say like FOMO, but like that, like, ugh, swimming upstream, doing something different than the vast majority of
I
people.
think FOMO is the right word. I think that part of me that I
Yeah.
do have a part of me that is having FOMO that feels like if I could have done this, right? Like back in the day before I changed my mind about this stuff, like I would have done it in
Yeah.
a second, like in a second. The
Yeah.
second a doctor like mentioned it, I
I mean,
1000% would have been doing it.
we were talking about the other day, like the experience of like how long we've been on the other side of this thing, and
Hmm.
even that's not fair language because like you just said, we have
Yeah.
moments where it's like, no, that sounds really damn good. That sounds really appealing to go back
Hmm.
to the land of not recovery.
Yeah.
And so even just like again, just the experience of those parts showing up that tell you different things and want different things and ugh, wanna do what the rest of the world is doing because it would give back like a sense of belonging. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I reflect on like
Yeah.
what
Fitting in.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, being looked at more positively, right? And again, even if I haven't had the experience of someone like making a negative comment to my face at this point, not that that's never happened, but it's not happening right, it hasn't happened like recently.
Yeah.
But just that feeling of like, like people are judging me, or like kind of going back to that
Yeah.
time of
Yeah.
feeling that way. I think I was telling you, Allison, like I talk about this part of me all the time, and I think this is to me what body image work, right? Like looks like these days is acknowledging those parts of us that are so deeply tied into like the cultish behavior of like diet culture or whatever we want to call it, that like this part literally the conversation in my head was something along the lines of scrap your website, build a new one, stop being a food and body like therapist, and just like treat people for anxiety, because then you can go on the medication and you can shrink your body into oblivion
Yeah.
and be some small version of yourself, and then nobody will question it, because now if I did it,
Yeah.
my clients would be like what is happening
Like you
right
good?
now?
Yeah.
Right. And again,
Well,
if I needed to, right, if there was like a medical, I'm not saying that it's, I would count it out totally if like there was a medical issue and it was like, life or death situation, and like I had to help myself in some way, but it would have to be like purposeful
yeah.
conversations with people around like, hey, this is what might happen, and like, can we talk about
Yeah.
how that
Yeah.
feels for you?
Yeah, that's like preemptively having the hey,
Hmm.
just as a heads up. But
Yeah.
I think obviously like I know why you did not go down that path, but like for our listeners who have no clue who the heck you are and why have you not done that? Why have you not scrapped your
Yeah.
website, pivoted
Yeah.
completely? Because it could be like you just named we've seen people do it, right? We've seen
Yeah.
colleagues and people in the
Hmm.
field. It's a kind of a normal thing now. So like
It's a
why
choice. Like it's a choice I could hypothetically make, and
yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah.
think again, it's been really connecting with that part and like what it is. Why does that part think that that's like the best option for me right now, and what would I actually get out of it in the end? A lot of it for me is thinking about, especially if we're talking about like those medications, the thought of like shutting down my hunger at this point, and the thought of getting back into some kind of struggle with like watching the scale, and you
Yeah.
know and watching body changes and having to like readjust somehow to what's happening, and to not have like this freedom with food to like just enjoy and like feel good about it. It sounds like a dark and twisty road to go down. I know exactly what would happen,
Yeah.
which is that I will go right back into that version of myself that was obsessed and literally stopped living the other parts of my life because it was so obsessed with that
With
part of
that
it.
one part. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that, gosh, that experience I can absolutely relate to. Like that being the only thing you think about and it
Hmm.
dominating every conversation, every
Yeah.
like waking and
Every
most
thought, right.
yeah.
Every book on my bookshelf. I was just joking with my husband, Matt, and we'll talk about this in another episode, that we were maybe having to make some tweaks and some food stuff in my house, not for weight things, but for some like a medical, our medical conditions were like sometimes we have to look at
Yeah.
adding in certain foods or whatever. And I was like thinking about some of the cookbooks I used to have, and I'm like, man, I wish I hadn't thrown away like all of those cookbooks, but I had to. There was this point where I had to be like, this cannot be my personality. Like it was literally my entire personality for years and years and years
Yeah.
and years.
I think, I mean, as a dietitian, I heavily relate to that because I mean, you're not going to be able to see my background, but like I have books and books and books from getting my master's in nutrition, and the amount of things that are like topics that I would not topics that I talk about with people, but having a book makes it seem like I agree with
Yeah.
that headspace, and
Right.
in reality, it's more of the hey, like this is an informational thing.
Yeah.
It's data. It allows me to have an intelligent conversation with people about it. But man, if somebody looked at my bookshelf, they would be so confused of
Yeah.
what do you have. And I think, gosh, again, as a dietitian, this is a constant conversation I have with people. I was doing a presentation over the weekend, and I was talking to a group. I think it was a 50 plus neighborhood locally to me, and I was talking to them about intuitive eating and gentle nutrition, and this whole thing that Keri and I preach and practice. And I always go into situations like that with like great hesitancy because people hear dietitian, right? And they're like, ooh, she's going to tell me to not eat things. And I
Hmm.
can't tell you how many people came up to me after and were like, you are not the normal kind of dietitian that I'm used to because you say, kind of the opposite of what the rest of the world is saying. But
Well, they think you're like the food police. It somehow it equals like food police.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, just again, great big gratitude for not
Hmm.
having that be the headspace I operate from anymore. It's definitely, I don't know. I would say
Yeah.
it does. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think just thinking about like what are the other reasons, right? Like why is that not what's happening right now for me, right? Like kind of going down that other road
Yeah,
is like I think when we and I think maybe this is a good information to remember that it takes a while to like take in new information about this stuff, especially when like mainstream people like it's not being talked about this way, right? But I know I've now told enough like enough clients and I've talked about it enough times and listened to enough trainings and listened to other people talk about it that like the research just isn't there for intentional weight loss and it's not it's not evidence based, right? Like even with the medications, we've seen medications like this before. They've come and gone, right? That I know it's not that the most likely thing to happen if I somehow force my body to try to
do
be
that.
smaller, yeah, is that I will probably gain more weight in the long run.
Yeah,
And that, obviously it's not, it's okay to say that that's not really what I want either. Like I like my body to just kind of stay where it's at and make like natural changes, which it will over time, right? I'm getting
yeah,
into like middle-aged area
yeah,
somehow, right? Like things will change and that's fine, but I don't want to put it in this place where it's forced to like do something that isn't natural, like starting to gain back weight because I was trying to lose, right? Like it doesn't make sense like to me. And I think at this point I've gotten enough of that information into my
yeah,
brain that it's there to be like,
yeah,
we saw what happened every time you
yeah.
lost weight, which is ending
Every
up right. So that's probably what would happen again.
yeah.
Um, and not
I
really
mean,
wanting to do that either. Yeah.
and like, what a cool place to come from, where you have the ability to like zoom out and look at historical data for yourself, and know. I mean, I think just entertaining the same thought here, like, okay, why have I not potentially? Because I think in the land of postpartum,
Yeah.
the bouncing back language is really, really
Hmm.
big, and so like
Yep.
that's rolled around my brain. I've gotten compliments from people postpartum, like, "Wow, you look great," and it's like that's not what I'm going for. I think for me personally, like there's so many other important things that are happening right now that I don't want to miss because I'm obsessed with food, body, right? Like, I don't want to miss a second of my kiddo and every single change that's happening day to day.
Right.
I do not have the mental capacity to even entertain portioning food or right like doing any of the things that would lead to intentional weight loss or would
Hmm.
put me back in that headspace. I think it
It
feels
shrinks your
less.
capacity for other things, right?
Yeah,
Like it takes up space and time and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Space, valuable space between my ears
Hmm.
that it's already. My brain is already rotting with like
Yeah.
things I can't remember, right? And that experience of just like ugh, trying to hold a conversation without getting distracted. It's yeah. There's no room right now at the inn for diet bullshit.
Yeah. I wonder too, in talking about things that have been like hard, I know
Mm,
lately I feel that like even more. anxiousness about going to doctor's appointments, and I'm feeling this
Yeah.
like I have to do this prep work in my head of like this is something that might come up again, and I really like to take that big step back and be like these are mostly, not everyone of course, well-intentioned people who think that they're doing right by you by recommending things that are like they're being told about now, or like I try to take that stance, but
Yeah.
I had to go to a doctor recently, and again it was like this battle in my head of trying to be prepared for this is something they might say, like what are you going to do, and then that other part of me that's like maybe they'll offer you a GLP-1 and you'll just take the prescription,
Just
like you don't
not
have to fill the like just take the prescription,
not
whatever,
even
right? This was like
commercial.
right, this was like the battle in my head. But and when I went, it was like this was again like such a nice provider, a nurse practitioner who like I just love seeing nurse practitioners
Me too.
um who
My
like
actually my
his
primary, yeah, as a nurse practitioner.
yeah, I just love a nurse.
Yeah.
Um,
Same. They're so
so
sweet.
especially working in a hospital, so I'm just like, these are like the people run, right? Nurses and physicians assistants, like, are just the people like running the entire
Yeah.
medical profession, basically.
Yep.
I mean, doctors are great, right? But like, these are the people doing like
No,
the
yeah.
frontline stuff.
Yeah.
He said to me, like, what, how did he phrase it? He said, what, or like, are you eating well kind of thing? And like, listen, I'm open to any doctor who's ever like, are you eating food, right? Like, how
Yeah.
often does someone say, are you eating enough? But I was like, yeah, yeah. And he was like, are you keeping calories low? And I said to him, why would I do that? Like, why would I do that? Like, what do you, and he was like
You're like, what were you
shocked by
thinking?
my like response. Yeah, like shocked by my response. And then we got into this conversation about like, I know Allison and I both talk to clients about this all the time, right? Like telling people that you have a history, like it's okay. And for me, I was never diagnosed with an eating disorder, but it makes more sense in their brains for me to say I have a history of an eating disorder, which I did. It just never got a diagnosis. And he again looked at me, as many a doctor has looked at me, like I'm not understanding the connection between me telling you not to talk to me about tweaking my diet when I have yeah, like no recollection. But then he like tried to get it and said something like, "Oh, you never told me that before." And I'm like, "Well, dude, it's in my chart. There was another provider before you. Like, did you not? Whatever." I said, "Well, okay, now you
Also,
know."
take me at face value. Like,
I
believe me,
know.
tell you with
Right.
my mouth that I
Right.
had a history of
Just
this.
okay. Right. Say
Yeah.
okay and now write it down. Fine. Again, he wasn't like being not nice, but
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
but even after that, said something like, "Oh, he asked me if I was moving," and like it happens to be, or asked me if I was working out. It happens to be that at this point in my life, I have gone through so many iterations of like working out, not working out at all. Right, there were years I had to be like, I cannot engage in this. I happen to be moving my body more than I maybe have it like in the last probably 10 years, like
Yeah.
consistently, like have a trainer who like shout out to Body Positive Fitness if you want to look them up, they are amazing. um like lifting, like doing all the things. I am as active as I've been in like my life. But of course I
Yeah.
said yeah, and he's like, oh, have you seen any, what kind of results have you seen? And I was like, what are you like, how about just wow, that's so great. He wanted to know like
Yeah.
specific
What's
things, and
different?
I was
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, well, I'm moving my body like you tell me to. It's good for my organs and good for my brain, and it
Yeah.
feels good and I have more energy. Like
Yeah.
what
Like,
answer are you looking for
why
right
do I
now?
need to see something happen for this to be a thing that I should keep doing?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like the conversations are sometimes just so confusing. And again, I don't he wasn't being a jerk about it. This, and listen, sometimes doctors are total assholes, and this was not that case, but like the amount of work it took for me to have to like
Yeah.
hold my shit together, and then I cried in the car, right? Like I had to hold it together, and I could have cried. Listen, I could have cried there. I could have told him he was making me upset. That also would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
But I just like held it together, and I think sometimes we don't realize the impacts that those kind of conversations have on us. And if I was already in a not good place, which I already was kind of not in a good place, and didn't have the resources that I have, like that could have 1,000% sent me
Yeah.
spiraling into oblivion for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.